blocked. It's blocked.
He doesn't know Edward is the doctor on puppet. He trusts me. I followed him.
Mr. Waits must have had a spare key to Dr. Gray's office, but where? I don't know the combination. Wait, maybe I do. It worked.
The last guest in the empty room suffered from severe maladaptation. I must write this down. because if I understand the condition sufficiently, it could make me deny this fact at a later date, and there is reason for me to think I may come to suffer the consequences from this dysfunction, as some who came in contact with the guest seemed to adopt a new worldview in which everything was predetermined but broken. Upon accepting this worldview, some memories became unmanageable and later rejected. I do not know what this means. I cannot even remember the fate of the guest. I think they were simply misplaced one day and forgotten. Just like all documents pertaining to this guest, they have all been destroyed, or they never existed in the first place. Who wrote this? There has never been a guest in the empty room.
Here we are, Dr. Gray's office. Now let's see if we can find some answers.
I have finished tidying up Miss Beauregard's belongings. I will leave it to you to contact her agent and have them collect her things. I found one of Grace's drawings she might want back, along with this key in her room, which I believe you've been looking for, Mrs. Thompson.
Dearest Dr. Manzetti, I find myself in a losing battle with my patient. As I've disclosed in my previous letter, his delusions have him completely captured. It's bad enough that he is torturing himself with paranoia, but his madness turns out to be quite persuasive to others, effectively laying the ground for mass delusion. I am writing to you in hope that you can give me some guidance. Beyond my ambition to avoid devastating surgery on my patient, I have grown worried about my own defenses. The words of my patient are deranged, yet they often resonate with something primitive within me. I have tried photographing his brain with X-rays. It was surprisingly difficult to get good results. Dark blotches on the plates kept obscuring all details. My patient looked at the bad plates and cried out in terror, telling me the dark areas was the shadow of the worm, eating him from inside. I could not see anything out of the ordinary. I hope this is a sign that my mind is not as receptive to the madness as I had feared. After further inquiry, my patient described the shadows inside his mind as some kind of chthonic monstrosity that wants to undermine his sanctuary. This is clearly a reference to a place he calls Teroea, a sort of library or convent that works as a psychological haven. With this imaginary haven threatened by this Chthonian, he has now constructed another, less pleasant hiding spot. Lately, he has been bringing up a metaphor of a steamboat that has run aground, that he feels like he needs to start the engines and reverse, but he is afraid that the hole in the hull would cause the whole ship to sink. I've been watching him turn this metaphor into reality for the last week. He knows it's made up, but he is doubling down, trying to make it a real memory. I feel certain that this is my chance to break through the barriers of his self-deceit.
Emily felt lost as she entered the office of Dr. Gray, much like she had the last time she was here. She began to question what she was hoping to find. She was simply going on a hunch that Dr. Gray was somehow tied up in this contract with the Dark Man. Emily couldn't even begin to imagine what kind of evidence she would need, besides a clear confession, of course. But she doubted she would ever find something like that. She was grasping at straws. The steps on the contract were so confusing to her that she was just hoping to get some small indication on where to go next.
I need the key.
Hey, little lady, how's your evening been going?
Ups and downs, I suppose.
I hear that. We all live in the life of an elevator operator.
Are you alright, sweetie?
Do you want to see my mask, miss? I'm making it for St. John's.
How did you... Is that supposed to be my... Ow!
You should learn your place, little girl.
Why are you acting this way? What did I ever do to you? Grace! Grace! I'll just borrow these. At least he's breathing. I'll just let him sleep it off. There's something missing.
Jeremy knew that the only one who could help him now was the guest in room number 3. The room seemed to have been empty for so long. But that wasn't allowed to be true. The story needed to be different. To include something from the outside, he would bring the guest back to room 3 and show them what was in that safe. 913. But those were not the right numbers. That was the combination for the safe in the clerk's office. The mask had reminded Emily of her father. It didn't seem like a chance connection, but a purposeful reference made by that child. How could Grace have known what he looked like, and that it would upset Emily so? And why would she use those words? Emily felt like it was beyond strange. It felt impossible. Did it even happen? Was she losing her mind?
Sometimes, I think this place makes me worse. That Derceto might be my grave. A coffin made of ostentatious architecture. A Taj Mahal for the drunken depressed. There's something about Derceto. Something about Dr. Gray. Like we all pretend that we're here to get better, when in fact we are here to be forgotten.
Ruth, are you there? No. Of course not.
Castle built the zoetrope as an exercise in animation. He is very interested in moving pictures and has even ordered an aeroscope camera for the colony. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of phantasmagoria he will produce. For now, his zoetrope entertains me greatly. It's not the little man passing his head, while quite humorous. It's the spell of that flickering light as it rotates. I swear it takes me back to my childhood in a most profound way.
What is going on here? I need the key.
Radiography. Patient Jeremy Hartwood. Date June 14, 1930. Plates. Jeremy's skull proved difficult to capture properly. Partial radiographs worked best. A complete picture of the brain can be assembled by piecing 3 plates together. Observations. Even when looking at an assembled version, a shadow covers significant parts of Jeremy's brain. Possible tumor, but more likely that the equipment is failing. Jeremy reacted strongly to the pictures and claimed to see a giant clay worm eating and displacing his memories. Notes. While this exercise has left me nowhere closer to an answer, I feel confident that a Burkhardt lobotomy should sever all necessary parts. Hypothetical psychosurgery based on the ideas by Burkhardt and the St. Petersburg research could end up saving Jeremy's mind. Severing the connections around the frontal lobe would certainly solve most mental afflictions. The procedure would be brutal in performance, as well as in efficiency. An ice pick pushed through the edge of the eye and into the skull would untether the nerves like Alexander cutting the Gordian knot. As this would likely leave Jeremy in a very different condition, all other paths should first be explored. The medical instrument I would need for this lobotomy is missing, and I should have Waits order a new one.
What's this? Oh, that's better.